Do you believe in something called divine timing? Or do you think that things just happen by coincidence? Or that you can just make things happen by your own timeline? So in this video, I wanted to talk about divine timing, kind of this cosmic timing, things that are timing that's out of our control essentially, versus our human linear way of thinking, and how we can meet somewhere in the middle. Sit tight. So divine timing, it's a very spiritual kind of concept of time when you think about it. But I wanted to talk about it a little bit today because myself included, and what I see in the world around me, are that so many people are pushing to meet this timeline that they have in their mind, okay? This linear frame of mind. We set goals. We want to meet those goals. We want to accomplish certain things in our lives by a certain time. But have you ever noticed how certain things in your life, it just feels like it's not the right time to do something. And when you try to do something when it's not the right time, it's like pushing a boulder uphill. It feels so forced, it feels so hard. Whereas maybe another time, or we wait a little bit and we notice like it's easier. It's almost like, okay, now we're pushing the boulder like on a slope downhill. Have you ever thought that that's kind of like weird? It's not, or we think back to times or circumstances in our lives when we're like in hindsight, oh, yeah, if I did that at that particular time, it wouldn't have been right, or it wouldn't have led me to here. So I want to talk a little bit about that today because I think we get lost in our own human capacities, our human brain, okay? This linear time frame. So we have this connection between yang and yin, fire and water, okay? You could say heaven and earth. This goes back to ancient Taoism, and I'm not going to get too far into this, but I just want to give you kind of like an explanation how it's all connected. And you know, the yang, or the heaven, you want to call it, or the cosmic energy is above us. Okay, and we are humans on this earth with our feet planted on the ground. So we have our biology, and then we have this connection to something more. So when we are thinking about something like timing, we're usually thinking from a place of just like our human instinct, human action down here, okay, our earth. But if we learn to connect the two between earth and kind of this more cosmic energy above us, or rise above it, we can get things done easier, smoother in life. Now, I don't want this to be woo-woo video or anything, but I just want to give you kind of a different way of thinking about time and thinking about getting things done in your life, because so many times we push according to our own earthly human timeline, that we forget the connection to a timeline that's almost mandated or set in stone for us. And it doesn't matter what you believe, but I'm sure you've experienced things in your life where things just feel really difficult, really hard to push through, and you're waiting for this giant aha moment, or you're frustrated, you're like, when is this gonna happen? I'm putting all the work in, why won't it happen yet? And we get frustrated and we get impatient, and that's a normal human emotion. So what I want to do is kind of tie together this thought of meeting somewhere in the middle between our human impatience with wants and needs and desires in life with something more, like rising above it in a certain way, looking at it from a different perspective. And usually, you know, it takes after the fact when we think back to things and be like, oh yeah, the timing wasn't right for that. Right? We don't think of that in the moment necessarily. So it's this balance, or this dance between you know, just our human wanting and desires, and that connection to just everything, the universe and energy and all kinds of stuff. So, you know, if we can get that connection, we're going to flow through life a little more smoothly. So I find in life that, you know, people are very black and white, one way or the other. It's like, I'm spiritual, so I'm going to just wait for the right timing. I'm going to do nothing and things will just fall in my lap and come to me. No. Or we have the other side that's like, well, there's no such thing as divine timing. I'm going to push, I'm going to work, I'm going to, you know, put my time in and it will eventually happen. And you know what happens? Both sides kind of get frustrated because on this side, nothing moves if you're just waiting, but you're not taking action, so the energy is not moving. Energy is not going to move if it's stagnant, right? If you're waiting all the time. I'm waiting for my aha moment. I'm waiting for the crystal clear picture of my purpose in life or meaning in life. Well, no. And this side is like, oh, I've been pushing. It feels so hard and it's still not happening. Well, what is that it that you're trying to get to and why? What is that it? Is that coming from ego? Is it coming from higher purpose? What is it? Because we get lost in train of thought. So you have to take these two things and blend them together and realize that, you know, sitting still and not taking any action in any direction is not going to you know, get you anywhere pretty much in life. It's just you're just gonna be still. And then pushing too hard, pushing too much, too fast, too quickly, out of impatience, out of human ego, is going to just frustrate us. Rather than working, you know, from a place of, you know, timing in life, looking at it from a higher vision, from a higher place, okay? Taking the steps needed to get to your goals, but not excessively forcing things when it feels forced, kind of allowing in. So it's about allowance, a little bit of surrender. But the thing is, we don't like gray areas in life. We don't like to meet in the middle. We either want to be this way or this way. We're either black or white. We're either right or left. But there's no such thing. You have to be a human and do humanly things, but also realize that you're a little bit more than human because you're connected to whatever else is out there. Right? So some things are out of our control and we become control freaks trying to control the outcome of everything in our lives, and that includes time. Well, if you think about it, time is an illusion. We could get into a whole conversation about that. Linear time is an illusion, right? Essentially, everything's all happening at once. That's a hard pill to swallow for the human brain. Right? So it's this matching between the human brain and the cosmic energy within all of us, which gives us even more power when it comes to timing in life and meeting goals and being in alignment to yourself. So, you know, if it hasn't happened for you yet, whatever that is, think about it. What are you pushing so hard for? And what is that thing that you're pushing so hard for? And then the other side of it is like, well, I'm waiting. But that's coming from this like need or this lack, like where there's always something deep inside that we're trying to fill essentially. And whether it's meaning, whether it's purpose, all that kind of stuff, we drive ourselves crazy being control freaks and trying to control the outcome. And, you know, like I said, it's a lot of times when we look back on things, we say, okay, it wasn't the right time to meet that person, to do that thing, because there were still some things I needed to learn along the way, some experiences, some things I needed to go through to gain that wisdom, to gain that, you know, knowledge in order to get to here. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of times things aren't, it's like the universe or whatever you want to call it, or what's beyond just our human capacity knows better than us. The human is going to say, I'm going to push, I want it right now. And we're like a little child throwing a tantrum. I want it right now because other people have it and I don't. And I put all this work in and but the higher version of ourselves, I guess you could say, says, well, I didn't get it when I wanted to get it, but I realize now that that's because I needed to still learn something along the way. I needed to go through something more to make it better for when I do get it, okay? And if I don't get it at all, then I'm not going to throw a tantrum about it, because that's just my inner child self throwing a tantrum because I didn't get that candy bar that I wanted. I'm looking at it from a different perspective, okay? Maybe that wasn't right for me. Maybe it's still not the right time. Maybe I'm wanting things out of my ego, or I'm comparing myself to other people because I think that's for my highest good when it's not actually for my highest good. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to, I don't know what the point of this is really, but think about timing in your life when you're frustrated and you're like, I'm waiting for something, but I'm not actually moving or doing anything to actually get it. Okay, that's fault number one, or where it's just become a fantasy in your head, but not part of a reality, or you're excessively pushing for something that doesn't want to be pushed, pushing that boulder uphill, instead of being patient with yourself, being patient with the universe, being patient with everything around you, and realizing, okay, I could take the steps that I need to take, but I'm not gonna like really force it. You know what I mean? So there's action and there's force. And coming from a place of action is doing things, it feels much smoother. Okay, when you're just taking action towards something, because you don't have that clouded judgment in the way and that desperation that's making you push. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay to push a little bit, but from a place of, they're coming from two different places, if you think about it, okay? They're coming from, one's coming from a place of more like meaning and purpose and really passion, and the other one's coming from just a place of like desperation or lack or ego, things like that. So if you meet in the middle and realize that, you know, meet the fire in the water, the heaven and the earth, the yang and the yin, whatever you want to call it, if you meet in the middle, things become smoother in your life. Okay, so not excessively pushing and not just being stagnant doing nothing. So anyway, just wanted to do a quick video about timing today, because I think it's something that we get frustrated about, where we're either waiting or fantasizing or for things to happen. You know, it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. That's the other thing. We can escape into this idea of, you know, oh, it'll happen someday. But then we don't take any steps to make it happen, okay? So that's that fantasy, non-action, just a form of escapism, essentially, versus just, you know, exhausting our system by really pushing like against a brick wall. So anyway, I hope you found this helpful. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Subscribe. I put out new videos every single week, or I try to at least, on Eastern medicine, 5 element stuff, yin yang, philosophies, self-cultivation, all kinds of good stuff for you. Have a great day. I will see you on the next video. Peace.